Hi everybody, my name is Isabel and I'm with the Nooksack Salmon Enhancement Association, or NSEA. Today I'm going to show you the anatomy of a salmon, inside and out. Let's start by looking at the outside of an adult salmon. The easiest way to identify a salmonid is by looking at their fins. Salmon have pectoral, dorsal, pelvic, anal, caudal, and adipose fins. Did you know the adipose fin is only found on salmonids? So if you catch a fish with one of these tiny fins, you've probably caught a salmon or trout. Scientists aren't 100% sure what the purpose of this fin is, but many theorize it helps stabilize the fish while swimming. Another unique characteristic I want to point out is the lateral line. This reacts like a whisker in cats or dogs and helps the salmon feel changes in water movement to sense predators or prey nearby. Let's go one step inside and look at the muscles and bones. You'll notice the flesh is pink and red. This is because, in the wild, salmon will consume shrimp and krill. This is the same reason flamingos turn pink. It's all thanks to the krill. You probably noticed this salmon has a backbone, just like us. That makes it a vertebrate. An adult Chinook salmon has 23 to 30 bones. Do you know how many bones a human has? 206. The bones attached to the spine are similar to our ribs, but we call them pin bones. Let's take another step in and look at the organs. If you opened a salmon, you'd notice that we share many of the same organs: stomach, liver, intestines, kidney, heart, brain, and spleen, just to name a few. Fun fact, the brain is pretty small, and it's about 1/3 the size of the salmon's eye. That's about 1/3 the size of a marble. But did you know that salmon have organs we don't? Let's look at a few of those. This is a swim bladder. It helps the salmon regulate its buoyancy. Buoyancy measures how much something sinks or floats. A stick, for example, has a higher buoyancy than a rock, because it'll float on the water and the rock will sink. The fish can adjust the amount of air in the swim bladder to keep them balanced and prevent them from sinking or floating. If we had these, swimming would be a whole lot easier. Next, let's look at the gills. These allow the salmon to breathe underwater by absorbing dissolved oxygen, which gets mixed into the water by waves or a current or the wind. Gills are usually bright red because they are oxygen-rich, like our blood. The gills are very fragile and have a special covering to protect them called an operculum. Did you know some fish can't breathe when they're standing still? Sharks are a perfect example of this. They have to stay in motion to breathe, but salmon use what's called an opercular pump to pull water over their gills while resting. How do salmon hear? Well, with ears, of course, but you probably didn't notice them. Inside their ears, the salmon have something called an otolith that grows in rings like a tree. By counting the rings, you can actually tell how old the fish is. If you were looking at a male fish, you'd find the male reproductive organs. But in a female, you'd find eggs, lots and lots of eggs. If you watched any of our Students for Salmon virtual learning videos, you may remember how many eggs a female salmon can lay. It's a pretty big number. A female salmon can lay anywhere between 2,000 and 5,000 eggs. She has to store all those inside herself until she digs her nest, so they take up quite a bit of room. Salmon are fascinating creatures. Did you learn anything new about salmon anatomy? While they're very different from us, we're also similar in many ways. One important fact about salmon is they're really sensitive to changes in their environment, like water temperature, amount of dissolved oxygen, and water clarity. That's why it's important for us as humans to take action to help salmon habitat, so we can continue to see these fascinating fish for generations to come. Thanks for joining me, and happy fishing.